There we go. There's our audio. Welcome to Chill Code Hackers. My name is Taggart, and on tonight's stream, we're going to be getting our Python going. To catch you up, in case you haven't seen what we've been doing, we are building a text-based adventure version of Black Hills Information Security's Backdoors and Breaches. This is a tabletop card game that is designed to simulate an incident, a cyber incident, and to help do a tabletop exercise for incident response. So what we've done so far is we've kind of defined our game space. Let me see if I can bring up our cards here, which I've defined in JSON. So the basic idea is that you have several different kinds of cards. Procedures are things that the blue team, which are the players, can do. And you have the several stages of the kill chain: initial compromise, pivot and escalation, C2 and exfil, and persistence. Hey Tacticodes, good to see you. And so with each of these cards, right, with the kill chain cards, certain of the procedures defined here in the detections property can detect them, and your objective throughout 10 rounds is to uncover the entire kill chain by choosing procedures, rolling a d20 basically, and seeing what happens. And so we've spent a lot of time kind of building out our game classes and our basic game loop. And we're about to the part where we're going to start setting up the actual game logic. And one thing that we might do, depending on how many folks we get in here tonight, is we might play a couple of rounds as a test to see how things go in the actual game, because I have it on Tabletop Simulator, and I thought it might be kind of cool to actually see how the game is played and then reproduce it in code here. So here we have our game.py. Let's actually go through the whole structure of the code, right? So we have our main.py, which is actually not that large, right? Basically main, and I can run it here in the IPython shell. Okay. Attempted import with no parent package. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. There we go. We'll try that. Nope. That's not going to work out. Got to be in the right folder to import this. Okay, well, there definitely is. Let's just run Python 3 main here. Import attempted relative with no parent package. I gotta fix some of this linking, I think. Then we'll be in good shape. This is all the stuff we did last night. I'm gonna try to import main. That's not gonna work out. I gotta be in the right folder. CD source. If I import card, does that work? Yeah, import card works just fine. And then import game. Import game does not work. Oh, it does. Attempted relative import package with no parent package. All right, let's see if we can fix that issue. Python attempted relative. If we get rid of the dot, are we in better shape? Problem is that this yells at us. But that works fine. So that's funny that the IntelliSense yells at us, but it's actually the way it's supposed to work. So that's cool. We'll get rid of the dot game too. That's what it's yelling at us about. So now we actually have the game running. We have a new game, right? Oh, good. I need to fix that. Stir has no object attribute card type. Where are we here? We're in filter cards, and that's in card.py. Stir has no attribute card type. Oh, right, of course. So what we're trying to do in this game is we're trying to differentiate between different kinds of cards, right? Let me turn this down a little bit. That's a little bit better. So what we're trying to do is we have different kinds of cards, right? And so we want to get certain kinds of cards have to go different places in the game. So to define that, the first thing that we did was we created different kinds of cards, right? You can see procedure, kill chain, inject, different kinds of cards. And when we load our cards, you'll notice that we are returning different kinds of cards. So if I do like deck equals, because I have card, right? Load cards. I'll get this deck, and you can see that the deck has different kinds of cards in it. It has a procedure, it has a kill chain card, it has an inject card, right? So what I'm trying to do with filter cards is filter based on that. Now, if I do like deck 0, and I just ask for, it's a procedure. If I do like this, you can see that it has a card type property. And what I want to do is use that coming in. Now the problem appears to be in our error when we ran the game right now. When we run the filter cards, and if we look at the traceback, we're doing it right here, self.deal cards. And so let's look at our deal cards. That's in game, I believe. Yes. We'll close the file browser here. Oh, did I do the thing where, did I reverse it? So I'm giving it the card type and then the collection, but then if I look at card, yeah. Let's just flip those around. that should solve that particular problem. I have to reload it, so I'm going to actually load the extension auto reload so that IPython will just do that for me. And set level 2 so that it auto reloads all the time. Okay. Let's run that again. Still happening. But is it happening at a different spot? Nope, definitely still the same spot. So let me try to kill IPython. Bring it back. Are your cards all string objects? No, they are not. They're Socialist Maker. Really good question. So the cards, here's the deal. Their cards are saved as JSON, but then let's look at what the card class does, and that'll actually help us understand what's going on. So when the card class, just for organization's sake, has a helper method, a class method called load cards. And what it does is it takes this global variable, or global to the class, class variable called card file, which is cards.json, and it opens that file up, and it uses the JSON module to load a dictionary. So at this point, we have a dictionary of things that are our cards, but that's not good enough. What we actually want is a list of the correct card classes, because I want them to have, you know, different representations in the code. So what we do is we actually use this handy create card method that we also built, and we feed each one of the JSON, or basically the dictionaries, into that. What happens is it reads the card type and matches it against the ones that it knows. If the card type is a procedure, it uses the procedure constructor to make a procedure type card. If it's inject, it makes an inject type card, and if it's other, we only have 3 kinds of cards right now, it's a kill chain. So what happens at the end of that is we get a list of card type classes, right? Either a procedure, a kill chain, or an inject. Right. So that's basically what we're getting. But unfortunately, what seems to be going on is that stir object has no attribute card type. So I'm going to load ext auto reload again, hoping that it actually works better than it did last time. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some cheap printing. So we're going to go over to our card.py and filter cards. We're going to print deck 0 just to see what's up with that. Okay. Import main. Okay, we did get the printout. So notice that, so we get the card procedure. That's what that print was about. Okay. And then this I don't know what that's all about, but so we get the procedure, right? So what stir has no attribute card type. But if we print card type like this, and we'll run the main.main again, we should see, oh, we don't see anything. Oh, is that because... Yes. So the reason why that was happening is because I did a stupid, which is that I did this for the kill chain cards, but I neglected to do it for the rest. So the way that we've done the class inheritance here is we created a card class. That's this giant thing up here. All right, and let me collapse this, well, in just a moment. You can see that I have this init, this constructor for the card class. So I send in, this is what makes the basic data, right? The problem is, and this comes from the JSON, the problem is I have to do something with the constructor for the procedure and inject. Otherwise, it just is, it's going to be named a procedure, but it's really just a string, right? If I don't give it another constructor, that's what's going on. So here, I actually have to do what I did for kill chain, which is write a little constructor. But because it doesn't have anything different at the moment, this is fine. I don't actually have to do anything else. But I do have to call super references the parent class, and then I'll call the constructor there. That should take care of it. Okay, but now you see that it does have procedure here. So we're getting this is working. So that's better. Now it still says we're getting a fail here on print. Stir object has no attribute card type. Oh, hold up. Yeah, I don't think my auto reload is working. Or it is, and I'm just still making a silly mistake. Okay. Let's go back to our game here. Or no, we're still in card. Let me re-expand this. Stir object has no attribute card type. Oh, it's because it is happening in a different place. If we look up a little bit in the trace back, we have to go to game and we're going to go to line 48. Right? Because we had another filter card where we're going to filter for the C.card type. Oh, no, C. Card.killchain is a list of the killchain type cards. So that's pivot and escalation, C2, and initial compromise, and X persistence. I don't know why I can't name them off the top of my head. I've been doing this long enough. But that should sort that out. Let's look for any other filter cards. Just 2 instances of that. Okay. Let's try this again. Hey! Okay. I'm gonna get rid of that print statement for the... Yeah, get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so now we have things running a little bit better. So we've got view procedures and quit. If I view my procedures, you'll notice that I have special procedures and then normal procedures. Basically, the way the game is played is that as the cards are dealt, some of your procedures are special. You get a +3 on the roll, basically, is what that means. 55 keys. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. And then your normal procedures, just kind of normal as they show here. All right. So then we're going to... I want to do a little bit of work, but not tonight because it's going to be a lot. like instead of doing this kind of menu structure, basically making a game shell where it like you give it a couple 2 verbs or something. Footpix, you got nightbotted. Let me turn that off so you can express yourself. Caps away. Alright, so Footpix, you're here, which means we can do the thing that I was planning on doing, which is showing what the game looks like for real. Let's see how well what this does to my frame rate. Let me change this up here. Sorry for the craziness. There we go. All right. Let's look at what Tabletop Simulator actually looks like. We'll create a new game. It's single player actually for when we do this. And then, yes, I want to load Backdoors and Breaches. Let me turn the music off. There we go. So here's Backdoors and Breaches. And let me show you what I mean about these procedures. This will actually help explain what I've been talking about. Let's deal out these special procedures. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the rest just get the music off. Let's spread these out. Yeah, there we go. So these are the procedures as listed. And we'll take a closer look at all of these. Right? Server analysis, UEBA, endpoint security protection analysis, SIM, NetFlow, cyber deception. Ooh, that's the one I needed to add to the poll. Crisis management, call a consultant, which is new. Memory analysis, isolation, firewall log review. So like these are the things that you as the players choose to do, right? And then what you're trying to discover, if we shuffle these, it doesn't matter. But you have this kill chain that you're trying to uncover, right? From initial compromise, initial compromise, pivot and escalate, C2 and exfil, right? Here's the deal. So, wait, did I move the whole deck over? Yeah, I did. I did need to do that. Okay. What's purple? Persistence. Change the turn to 90. So, you guys want to play a couple rounds? All right, let's do it. So, generally speaking... All right, let me switch over to the talking head for just a second. What I'm doing is I'm checking out what the incident is, so I can create a story for what the incident is. That's actually what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Right, I have to come up with a story as to what you detected. Okay, love it. And then you will choose a procedure to try to use to detect what's going on. And then let me just check. I have the poll feature here set up for Backdoors and Breaches. But I want to make sure that I have everything. Memory analysis. And can I add one? Do you have to own the game? That's a really good question. There are free versions. There are free versions of the online play. What you have to own to do what we're doing here is Tabletop Simulator, which is like $20, but the game itself is free. Oh, weird. It looks like I only have 11 that we can do. So what I'm gonna do is what I always do for these, which is turn off crisis management and replace it with cyber deception. At work, we figured out some house rules for things, like because isolation doesn't do a lot in the game, as you'll find out. So what we do with isolation is it like gives you an extra turn because it slows down the attackers. Okay. Everybody ready to play? Let's do it. Okay. So here's the situation. You received an alert. You're not going to mess anything up. So, in your sim, you noticed an alert for an extraordinarily high number of Windows Event 4625s. What's Windows Event 4625, anybody? And this is from your Windows Event security logging. Correct, 55 keys. Windows 4625 is a failed authentication for Active Directory login. Absolutely right. So you're seeing a very large number of these across more than one user. That's what you see. And so now it is your turn to investigate further. So you have these procedures that you can, and again, remember, your goal is to reveal the initial compromise, what the pivot and escalation of an attack was, any persistence, and C2 and exfil. Those are your objectives. To accomplish that, you have server analysis, UEBA, endpoint security protection analysis, SIM log analysis, and I'll answer any questions about these if you have them. Cyber deception, endpoint analysis. Not that, because it doesn't mean anything. Call a consultant, which will actually unlock one of these consultant cards. Memory analysis, isolation, and firewall log review. You win when you reveal all 4. That's correct, and you have 10 rounds in which to do it. If you don't reveal them all by 10 rounds, the bad guys win. Or I do, I guess, if you think about it that way. But I'm kind of like the DM for this. So, let me fire up this poll and see if it works. So go ahead and put your choice in the chat. And we will proceed from there. Just put the number down in chat for whatever you want to vote for. Nothing. They're just when you start voting 55, there's going to be a pie chart of results. There you go. See? Okay, so. One vote for firewall logs. I think it's got to be case. Okay, cool. So 2 votes for firewall logs. That's pretty much what it's going to be. Yep. All right. Yep, it reads from Twitch. So firewall logs is a good one. I forgot to do a thing, but that looks good. So firewall logs it is. Okay, so firewall logs. Now what we have to do is roll a d20 to see if we succeed. Yep, got you. So it was unanimous firewall logs. Preference on the color, anybody? Purple. All right. Oof. So, unfortunately, you got a 6. It's got to be a 10 or above for success. And so, firewall logs did not do the work for you. And because firewall logs were not one of your special procedures, you didn't get a +3 on the roll. The one thing I forgot to do, which I always like to do, I'll switch it back in a second, is save a snapshot of the incident. Because... Oh no! You didn't see that. Okay, so a lot of moving pieces to this. So unfortunately, you weren't able to determine anything from that. So there are a lot of reasons why that might happen. The firewall logs may not have been parsed correctly. But you have 3 turns before you can use that particular procedure again. So we try this. We'll do another couple of rounds. Not. Hey, that's how it goes. Hey, Black Hacker. Good to see you. All right. So for this one, I've added Call a Consultant back in. You shouldn't need it just yet. But let's go ahead and start this poll up. Yes, this is the game. Yep, pick a new procedure. That's absolutely right. So at this point, we get the poll going again. Yes, I can. I can zoom in on the cards, and I'll go through them again. So we have server analysis, UEBA, endpoint security protection analysis, SIM analysis, NetFlow, I freaking love this poll feature. I'm so glad I found this plugin. It works so well. Okay, it's like exactly for this too. Yep, I can move the window. Where do you want to go? 55? It's hard to have them all visible at one point. I could try to get the cards a little bit closer together. How about that? And I can get this one out of the way so it's not taking up space. We'll ignore the nice little spaces for it. Okay, it looks like it's 2-1 for Sim. So let me kill the poll so you can see the card. Okay, so sim it is. Now, let me quick rotate this. So sim is nice because it gives you a +3. And so this is like if you have Splunk or if you have Elk going on in your environment or QRadar or something like that. All right, so we're going to do sim. Footpicks, what color of dye am I using this time? Okay, so you got a 9, but because it was one of your... But because it was one of your blessed procedures, ones that... The way that you think about these, there's like, this is the stuff, the procedures that you and your team do all the time. You have this down cold. Whereas this is the stuff that, like, you're supposed to train on, but maybe you didn't. Right. So Footpix is exactly right. Sim is like Splunk. Or if you have Elk Stack from the Security Onion or something else like that. It's your log aggregator, right? It's specifically for security events. But Splunk is interesting too because it's an ops tool, right? All right. So you used your sim and you reviewed all the logs. And one of the things, actually for time, I'm going to give you 2. You were successful in identifying password spraying. You were able to detect that somebody was throwing passwords at every account that they had gotten their hands on, maybe through a breach, maybe through, user enumeration. But so you saw, the reason why you saw this, right, was so many of these attacks going on, right? And it's entirely possible that in addition to the AD logs, maybe you saw them go after a public web asset, that they had HTTP logs in there. They were doing the same kind of brute forcing. But sure enough, you were able to use your SIM to find password spray for initial access and for pivot and escalation. So maybe it started with like ADFS, right? Some web-facing thing that's Active Directory joined. And then internally, maybe you started seeing it through SMB or WinRM or something else. All right, you guys are killing it. Let's do another couple rounds. All right. What shall it be? Choose your procedure. Let me see if I can do something with the organization of the poll window. Can I make it a little smaller? I can. I will put it up in the corner. All right. So now you know how they got in, right? So you're going after pivot, you're going after persistence and C2 and exfil, right? So those are the 2 parts. So you want to think about what are the tools that you could use to find command and control and exfiltration, and what are the tools you could use to find persistence, right? What could the bad guys do on an endpoint that could keep them on the system, and then how could you find that? Okay, so we've got a vote for endpoint security protection analysis and a vote for endpoint analysis. Now, this is an interesting distinction. One of the things that we've kind of figured out with endpoint analysis, that endpoint analysis is like you get onto the endpoint and you're doing like threat hunting or incident response, right? So that's why it's Deep Blue CLI and Velociraptor, right? This is where you're actually parsing through Windows logs, right? You're looking at the registry to see if anything evil happened. Another tool that's not on here, but I think is really important, is Mandiant Redline. You would use that here. Endpoint security protection analysis is kind of like your EDR central logging. That's kind of the way that we figured it out. All right, 2-1. Any other votes? Going once, going twice. Endpoint analysis it is. All right, so firewall log review is almost back on the board. Let's go ahead and roll. Do I have a color preference? Gotta be fast, 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 fast. Tell you what, I can change these up, right? Hendrix time? Let's do it. Oh, 8. But, wait. Was endpoint analysis... No, it wasn't. Endpoint analysis wasn't one of the blessed ones. So, unfortunately, that's disabled for 3 turns. And we'll up the turn count. Purple is not doing well for everybody. I just want to point that out. We can change it up to be metal. Okay. Lots of reasons that endpoint analysis can fail. You might not know what Windows event logs to look at. What would I have gone with? I might have gone with endpoint analysis, but I also know... So for endpoint, right, I might also have used, because I've got a +3 on this, I might also see server analysis. Notice that Deep Blue CLI is one of the tools here as well. So I might have gone for that, but I don't like to editorialize in these. Another one that is a little OP in the game, to be honest with you, is NetFlow. This right here. NetFlow is a little OP in the game. And in fact, in my experience, it's OP in real life. If you have good NetFlow data in your environment, you can find out all sorts of stuff, right? The wire does not lie. What are we determining gives us +3? The stuff in the top row in these boxes. These are the +3 cards. All right. Here we go again. Isolation is useless in this game, as far as I can tell. It's not totally useless, but there's not a lot that it does because it's really much more about... It is a good incident response tactic. It's just not investigative. You know what I mean? It's about containment. It's not actually... If you think about the Picer L model, it's not going to be revealing. All right. 3 votes for NetFlow. All right, I'll get any other opinions. I don't know how your last tabletop exercise is if you do these, if you work in security, but I find this to be a whole lot more fun. All right, I think it's gonna be NetFlow. So let's go ahead and try the orange die, since purple's been betraying us. Oh God, awful. Okay, so a couple of things happen on Nat 1. On a Nat 1, so okay, we killed NetFlow. Firewall's back, but an endpoint has 2 more turns. So on a Nat 1, you also get an inject, which we haven't seen yet. So let's see what our inject is. I think there's a place for it somewhere. Yeah. So here's what the inject is. The attackers post a YouTube video detailing the extent of their attack because it wasn't getting the press they thought it deserved. Now, that doesn't have any impact on gameplay. Some of the injects don't. But it does have an impact on your organization's reputation, which isn't awesome. Let me see. There is... I will put it in the chat. All right. 18 intelligence, wisdom. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Think we're ready to go here. Whoops. Next procedure. Almost there. Call a consultant is neat, because it does some stuff to the... It does some stuff to the game. The consultants have interesting gameplay modifications. All right, one for call a consultant. All right. You can see also how this is like, we're doing this over Twitch chat, which is kind of cool, but what I want to do is set up a Discord, right, and have us do it via voice, because I haven't gotten around to it yet, but the live chat component of this is even better. All right, looks like it's consultant time. Break out your wallets. So our consultant is Jorge. These are real people. And so if you want to go follow Jorge on Twitter, it's at Jorge Orquiles. And the Incident Master Bros revealed the C2 and the exfil card. All right, so you already had... That's it. So the C2 and exfil, it turns out they were using domain fronting. This is a really cool technology, or a technique. So domain fronting, if you're not familiar with it, domain fronting is this technique where certain CDNs, content delivery networks, have this trick. Let me turn the poll off. Where, let's say that there's a public, like a safe website hosted on a CDN. And let's say that I set up another website that it's malicious on that same CDN. When I send my HTTP request out to their DNS servers, right, and their HTTP servers handle it. One thing that's interesting that happens is that if the host header in the HTTP doesn't match the actual intended destination from the rest of the HTTP header, the rest of the TCP packet, the host wins. So if Microsoft.com is hosted on a CDN and I set up a bad site on the same CDN and I send an HTTP packet to a request to Microsoft.com, but the host header shows my actual malicious website, the CDN will route it correctly to my malicious website, but as far as you're concerned, inside the environment, everything was going to Microsoft.com. That's domain fronting. All right. So just persistence left, and then we can get back to the Python, but I thought this was kind of a cool thing to go through, and then we can, you know, explore how the code's actually working. All right, one more left. Things we haven't tried. I think endpoint analysis is back on the board. It takes a while to do these. So we have sim again, UBA, server analysis. Two votes for server analysis, all right. Okay. Anybody else? All right, server analysis. Going once. Going twice. And I am going to change the color of these dice because it's just not working out. It's too yellow. It's like a gold. There we go. All right, blue or gold, classic combination. All right, blue it is. Oh, dissension in the ranks. 55 beat you to it, FootPix. Oh, success! Okay, so you were successfully able to analyze your servers. However, because there were no servers that were impacted by this particular incident, you didn't find anything on the servers. So the last card is not revealed. It's a little cheap, I know, but I have to go by what the detections are listed on the cards. Alright, I think you'll get it in this last one. If it wasn't on servers, then where were they? Ooh, interesting. UEBA. That's interesting. You must be pretty rich. Yeah, you can use things again. Need somebody to play tiebreaker. I don't think it'll count your vote because you already voted, but I understand that you're voting for firewall logs. All right, so firewall logs. Yeah, who does? Who has money for UEBA? No, it'll only count your vote once. Okay. UEBA? Yeah, it does. I mean, Splunk alone, for example, costs way too much. I don't want to tell you how much our org pays for it. It's a lot. But then enterprise security or user behavior analytics on top of it. Whoa! And the reason is because it's the ML/AI solution, you know? That's kind of what UEBA is supposed to be. It's basically looking for anomalies, right, in user behavior, right? If I start logging into stuff I've never logged into before, or if I'm logging in from Kazakhstan or something like that. Okay, so it looks like it's perfectly tied between oh no, because Footpix changed your vote to firewall log review, right? Okay, that flows back on the board. Firewall log review. Okay. Firewall logs. This is the least Python I've ever done on a Python stream, but worth it. Okay. Pick a color. Socialist, you posting links? Change the vectors of breaches. No, I can switch that up. Oh, I got you. Yeah. We'll leave the vendor stuff off. Gold. Oh, painful. Painful to see that go from a 15 right into a 3. Ah, rough. Well, I'm going to tell you that one of the things... I'm actually going to tell you that one of the things is that with the firewall logs, they're not really going to be so revealing with persistence. Right? Because with firewall logs, I mean, maybe if you've already revealed C2 and exfil, but your firewall logs, you're not going to see as much as you think. Just because they've already obfuscated their C2 channel, and their persistence may even change up what that channel ends up being. So with persistence, there's someplace else that you may consider looking. Okay, we've got 2 votes for endpoint security protection analysis. All right, well, that's definitely a commanding majority for endpoint security. All right, endpoint security, going once, going twice. Sold. Oh, I think I forgot to increase the counter. We're doing fine. I think we're at, yeah, 7 turns. I think actually we went 2, so it's 8 turns. Okay. Pick the color. Socialist Maker, I have an exact stream schedule. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific. Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. On Tuesdays, we do red team stuff. On Wednesdays, we do programming and this, I guess. And then Saturdays, we do blue team stuff. Can I load a coin in? All right, blue. Oh, God. just a garbage roll. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. That's okay. All right. I think we can get it in one more round. You have another endpoint-esque tool. Socialist Maker, thanks so much for hanging out. Hope to see you on Saturday. Okay. Endpoint analysis. Memory analysis. Ooh, interesting. Okay, endpoint analysis, memory analysis. Anybody else in the chat want to break the tie? It's just been this war between keys and footpicks. Somebody press a number on a keyboard. Come on. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Can I... Yes! I can actually load in a coin. I didn't actually choose what it is. Okay, great. Now it's tied. Amazing. Or now it's a three-way tie. Fantastic. Good job, everybody. Forget it. I'm breaking the tie. One, two, three. Endpoint analysis. Oh, tabletop simulator. Okay. Color choices? I want to use the coin. Okay, blue it is. Blue it is. We got there. Okay. Your successful review of endpoint data has revealed that they establish persistence via accessibility features. Sticky keys has a vulnerability that allows persistence in the on-screen keyboard. Husky, good to see you. Den of Blue Teamers. That's right. You're in one of three streams that I know about that does Blue Team regularly. Footpix is the other, and then the Guar. I think I'm a number of hours too early to see him today. But it's actually not what this, not what tonight was supposed to be about. But because we're writing a text-based adventure version of this game, that's what we're doing, right? So we decided to play. Wow. Buzzer beater. Gromit, good to see you. So this is Tabletop Simulator. So they created a game model for Tabletop Simulator. They have a couple of other ways to play too. Other folks that have made that you can check out. But this is, I think, by far the most fun, just because it's, you know, this whole game space that you can kind of organize as you see fit. I really, really like it. All right, nice work, everybody. So yeah, so here's the whole kill chain, right? Password spray to actually get into the environment. Internal password spray. Accessibility features to maintain persistence, and then domain fronting for C2 and exfil. Yeah, no, it was my pleasure. I had a lot of fun. Now I'm going to bum everybody out by going back to Python. And if you do want to do this as an incident if you ever want to do this as an incident master, like do what I was doing, here's a trick. Take a screenshot of the kill chain and save it in like Paint or whatever, just because you're gonna want to reference it. Because what I do, right, is I take a look at what the kill chain was and try to invent a narrative about what you would see. Like, how would you get the first clue that there's something wrong in your environment, and then create the story around that. That's kind of how I do this. Yeah, no problem. We'll do this again, for sure. We'll definitely make it a more regular thing on the Saturday games or Saturday streams too. Just because I was actually thinking about making it like a really, really, really high channel points reward. Make it CTFP to make everyone mad. What? Oh, what do you mean? So like, a hacker, I think we have to add a steganography card to do that, right? That they're like somehow their exfil is going to be through steganography. Something you always see in CTFs and never see in real life. All right. So back to the game we were building, right? We're building the Python version of this game. So now this kind of makes a little bit more sense, right? Where we have a card class, and there are different card types, right? Initial, inject, pivot, C2 exfil, persistence, and then I have this list of kill chain here, where the different kill chain cards, right? Because I don't really care what kind of card it is. Should have done stable on the card image. Amazing. Freaking Stego. Stego's like, you know the joke about how like 90s cartoons or cartoons from when we were kids like made you think that you were going to have to worry a lot more about quicksand than you have to as an adult. That's how I feel about steganography. The amount of energy I've put into learning Stego deciphering tools to compete in CTFs and to do like try hack me's and things like that is far and far beyond like what I actually encounter in my daily life as a defender. Yeah, Stego's cool until you actually have to use it. It's the although here, hot tip for steganography. Here is my go-to Stego tool, Stego Veritas. Stego Veritas, I believe it's a gem. No, it's a Python thing. Right, Stego Suite is the gem. But Stego Veritas is a Python thing, so you can install it with pip. And basically, it runs every Stego tool in the world out of the box and will produce kind of the keepers for you. It's really, really nice. Pretty much if it's going to be a Stego challenge on a CTF or something like that, I'll fire it at this, and if there's something in there to find, Stego Veritas will, generally speaking, find it. Steganography is taping a secret note to the belly of a Stegosaurus and having her sneak the note across the parking lot. You know what? 100%. And frankly, totally effective, because who's going to mess with a Stegosaurus walking across a parking lot? I mean, there's some R&D that has to go into it, right? The genetic experimentation, right? The cloning, splicing of frog DNA, all the rest. But at the end, you know, absolutely zero trust communications channel. Okay, see if I can remember what we were doing. Yeah, also some large liability costs, I think. Right? Because if you don't... I don't know what you tip a Stegosaurus, but you gotta do it, or the tail swipe is gonna probably involve lawsuits. Ugh, awful. It's just ASCII art. And you have to, like, decode the ASCII art somehow. Okay, so let's try to get back into what the game loop is. So where are we? We load the procedures, we deal the special procedures out, that's what we have here, right? We deal the rest, and then we set up the kill chain. Okay, so this is actually what I was doing before the stream started, as I was starting to write this function. Hey, Pony Lover, good to see you. Okay, so we're gonna print the game state. So to do that, we're basically just gonna write this out. And so we're going to write the view kill chain function here. It's not going to be view state. I don't want them to see the whole state. But print kill chain, basically, is going to be... So it's going to actually be for k... nope. We can use k. For self.state.killchain, right? Or no, the dot is not correct. It should be self.state kill chain like that. I may turn that into a class later, so I don't have to do the dumb dictionary stuff. But for now, it'll be fine. So what we're gonna do with the kill chain is, if you think about how to display the kill chain cards, right? They're revealed or they're not revealed, right? So I have to have some sort of state for those to make that work. Now I actually do. If we look at the kill chain card, you'll notice that I put in a revealed property for them. So we can actually use that to determine whether to show this thing or not. Right? So if I do... did I go to school for computer science? No, I did not. I went to school for English with a creative writing minor, and then I went to grad school for school leadership. So everything that I know how to do is self-taught. I got very lucky in that, you know, I grew up around computers and got very interested in them, and then fell kind of backwards into a job teaching computers to middle school students, and wanted to get very, very good at what I was doing. So it's kind of how that started. And Python was my first programming language, so I like doing this stuff because it's like coming home. And it's, to this day, by far the language I use the most. There was a period there where I was doing a lot of JavaScript every day, and Python is, for me, much more enjoyable. Yeah, and now that I have a cybersec job, I can pay all that student debt. Very true. Range. Taking things apart came natural, computers did not. You know what's interesting, Pony? I had the exact opposite experience. Like, I cannot for the life of me get into hardware. I can't do it. Like, I've had to teach students how to do Arduino, and I've had to do, you know, resistors and transistors and all that stuff. Circuit diagrams, like, I can do them, but not my thing. A lot of my friends want me to get into drones, can't get there. Want me to get into robots, can't get there. But show me an elegant algorithm or an elegant data structure, and I'm all about it. And I think that's mainly because of the English. Yeah, I think, but it's also, you know, kind of where you're... Not that I totally subscribe to the multiple intelligences theory, but there is, you know, from me, I'm very linguistically oriented, and which is why, like, the programming kind of comes more naturally to me, because to me it's just another language. Some of it also is, you know, space limitations. I'm not in a spot right now where I have a lot of, you know, real estate to set up, like a soldering station and all that kind of stuff. If I did, I probably would be more inclined to play around in that area. So what we're gonna do is, the reason I'm doing this as a numerical iteration rather than just getting the values is because I want to print the number. Yep, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will always think it's dumb. Very true. That also presupposes that fish, by their nature, can't climb trees, right? Which is pretty true. Yeah, makerspaces are great. There are some good ones here in LA. Maybe once the Rona finally subsides here, I'll be more inclined to get back to those. There's a great one. I don't know if you've ever looked at the Nullbyte stuff on YouTube, but Cody from Nullbyte did a lot of seminars out here to do like wireless hacking. That was rad. Yep. Null Space Labs, I think, is where those take place. It's out in, like, Burbank. Nope. If, I'm going to save this to a variable for ease. Build chain equals self.state build chain. If. Oh, you know what? Let's just do that up here, and then I don't need this. Yeah. So if build chain, how many times do I have to look this up? I'm very sorry that you're in Texas. I have to be, because I'm from Philly originally, so, you know, with any luck you're not a Cowboys fan, but, you know, we'll forge a path ahead, even if you are. It's okay. I actually don't give a crap about the Cowboys or the Eagles. In all honesty, I've never spent a lot of time in Texas. I spent a little bit of time in Houston, but that's about it. I got to travel down there a little bit more. And statistically, thousands and thousands of Californians agree with you. We've had more Californians leave for Texas in the last couple of years than in history. This is the first year that California's population went down. Thoughts on it Always Sunny? It's they get a lot right. I will say that Philadelphians pride themselves on their moral reprehensibility to a degree. And if you don't know what I mean, look up Hitchbot. Oh yeah, we gotta add a card variable here. Gromit, I assume you mean Eagles fans, Scary? And they should. Eagle fans may also scare you. So I don't know. I'm not going to comment on alcoholism, but I will say. So you used to live near the King of Prussia Mall. That's where I spent my teenage years. Good lord, Gromit. Yeah, man. Philly's interesting from a libation perspective because its liquor laws have created a lot of weirdness. Until very, very recently, all of the beer and wine and liquor had very, very strict controls around it. All wine and spirits in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania were sold only through state-run stores. So you couldn't like go down to the gas station and get a six-pack or whatever. And if you wanted beer, you had to go to what was called a distributor. Think of like a package store if you're from that part of the world. Yeah, Pennsylvania is a commonwealth. Like Virginia or Massachusetts, it's not a state. The first couple years that I lived in California, the idea that I could just like walk into a grocery store and there would be wine, beer, and liquor there, I was like, this seems illegal. Yep. A bunch of the original colonies are... But, so here's the thing. That rule had some interesting loopholes. For whatever reason, pizza places, and only pizza places, got this special dispensation to sell six-packs out of a fridge in the front. So you could, like, if you went to get a pizza, you could pick up a sixer, but that was it. And, like, everyone in Pennsylvania just knew that, right? If you didn't want to go get a case of beer from a distributor, you have to go get pizza. And the other part that is really interesting is that there's a loophole in Pennsylvania that if you produce the alcohol on premise, then you can sell it. Consequently, the microbrewery scene in Pennsylvania is killer. Do you have to buy a pizza? Can you just buy a beer? I mean, as long as you're there, you might as well get a slice, you know what I mean? Here was the deal. Most of the time, if it's like... depending on where you were, there were different places that maybe didn't, card as aggressively. And so if you bought a pizza or two, they might be less inclined to ask for your ID. The card property is what? It is title. That's what I want. All right. Finally have this going. Kill chain. Okay. That took longer than I expected to write that function. But, okay, there's our view kill chain. An exception has occurred. Oh, because I forgot to add it to the actual game menu. Yep. All right, now we've added it to the game loop. Is the kill chain not loaded? Looked like it was an empty list. So let's debug that a little bit, and that's why I love this this interactive Python shell here. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna do so I have game, right? Oh, did I not? Let me import game. So if I do game dot deal cards, and I ask for the g dot state, see how it gave me the state? Look at this. So I do have kill chain cards in there. That's working. So the game state is working. So what's up with my print kill chain here? Self.state, kill chain. For I in range, land kill chain. All right, let's do the cheap print. No, because it didn't do anything, right? I didn't see any of that, so that won't work. Let's do print kill chain just to see if it's there. Yo, what? Oh my god. What'd I forget to do? Unbelievable. Forgot to print the message out at the end of the... There we go. And then it's going to be, so we start it there, message plus equals string. And then we'll do MSG MSG is totally fine. It occurs in nature. It was given a bad rap by basically racists who didn't want you to eat at Chinese food restaurants. I know you do. Plus equals, that was very specific. Okay. That's a solid tastes like soup. We can't have the people learning what umami is. They might get ideas about the quality of this exotic cuisine. Now eat your baked potato with nothing on it. Alright, so the kill chain is getting printed out. The triple equals. It is. It's a nice delimiter. There we go. Now it'll look nice and even. Yeah. It's like, did I miscount? Boy, I do not miss the triple equals from JavaScript, Gromit. That's, whew. It gives me flashbacks. It actually raises a question, though. So, you know, last summer was when I started streaming, and I started doing it on YouTube. Basically, it was like a learn to program in Python course that I did every week just because I was bored, and I figured, like, so was everybody else. And I want to do the same kind of thing again. I'm thinking maybe not Python this time, maybe something else. And I'm also thinking maybe doing it for, like, having bonus stuff for subscribers. So I'm curious, anybody in chat, if anyone has an idea of what could be good for like a couple week-long kind of intensive where we do more streams per week and we dive deep into something and really get good at it. We could do Python. I could absolutely do Python. It's just that that content's there, you know, because from last year we did, and it's all, by the way, the VODs are going to be here, but also I cross stream to YouTube, so if you ever need to, Golang. That would be a personal challenge for me because I've avoided Golang. I learned a little bit of it and then I skipped out on it. Other languages, so Rust, obviously JavaScript in many different flavors. Haskell is a personal favorite of mine, although nobody else in the world likes it. Nim, that would be interesting. Nim would be neat. Yeah, I should probably get more into Nim. I've been trying to... I've been on the side, kind of like building up my Rust game, specifically, because I want to make offensive Rust tools the way that Marcello or Bytebleeder has done with Nim. Nim is neat. Your whole company's backend uses Haskell. That's amazing. So I learned Haskell mainly as kind of an entree to getting better at Rust, and learning a functional language with a strong typing system like Haskell absolutely made me a better programmer. Like, without question, learning that discipline of both the strong type system and the functional thinking, transformative for my process. Oh, I also know Ruby, but I haven't used it in years. When I was the administrator of a Mac primary environment, I would write my shell scripts in Ruby because it was much easier to do stuff than, you know, the bash syntax that I was trying to avoid. And Ruby came out of the box in Mac OS, so it was much easier to do. Ruby is only good for Metasploit. Yeah. And Puppet. I feel bad. Ruby is a great language. It's just, I don't know, it's like not popular. And it missed a lot of boats, I feel like. Yeah, Puppet's a configuration automation engine. So with Puppet, like, you can think of it like state management for your endpoints. After you set up a virtual machine, for example, Puppet can then, sort of like Ansible, Puppet will, you know, go pull the modules it's supposed to have and, you know, install the packages and get everything set up the way it's supposed to. The difference really between Ansible and Puppet is that Puppet is a pull model, where the endpoint asks for the configuration it's supposed to have, and Ansible is a push model where you, as the administrator, say, hey, go configure this thing this way. And Ansible is Python. Oh, I don't know what Mats did. Alright, so we're printing out the kill chain. We have to figure out a way to actually run a procedure. So let's write the run procedure. And this should live in the game, yeah, absolutely. So we will actually run the print procedures function inside of this. Block accidentally. I mean, that sucks. Accidentally is not great. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the always online component of it makes it any better. You know, you shouldn't intentionally misgender somebody, right? You shouldn't do that. I think good faith mistakes can be forgiven, right? But unfortunately, the online climate doesn't really afford that, does it? Procedures, and then we'll call it proc choice. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you said by accidentally using he in a sentence. That's what I thought you meant. I apologize. Oh, I see. Yeah. I, I can absolutely see how somebody, not that I'm agreeing with the position, but I can see how somebody might get their feathers ruffled about that. That's why I've kind of, whenever I have to write a sentence like that, I just default to they at this point. Why invite the conversation? Yeah. Okay. So the proc choice, we should have... Yeah, I mean, you can always not tweet. I feel like that should be the default. Much like denial on a firewall, just don't tweet. Bomb-ass pizza. Good to see you, friend. Hard same, Footpix. Husky, I think that's a great choice. Here's the problem. Twitter's actually been like insanely useful for me. I literally am in InfoSec because I started getting involved on Twitter. I said this on Footpix stream the other night where Leslie Carhart, or Hacks for Pancakes, had an extra ticket to Hope, and I DM'd and said, hey, I would like to get more into security. I'm an educator. What do you think? And she was like, here's your ticket, get to New York. And so I went to my first security conference because of Leslie, because of Twitter. So I have a hard time, throwing it entirely under the bus. I mean, kind of, but not in that gross way, you know what I mean? I promise I am not one of those dudes. Yep. I'm a certified ethical DMer. Husky, that's a great position to be in, right? Mentoring is awesome that way. Okay, what are we doing? We'll do the safety. I'm gonna put a to-do in here. And then we're just say print. Self.cards. No, self dot. Trying to figure out the best way to do this, because I've separated the procedures and the special procedures here, but now I actually have to unify them again. I wonder if there's another way to do that. I think there is. I think I'm gonna go back and rewrite this just a little bit, but before I do, let me quickly... Actually, let's get add all. I never use Twitter. Coined the term adjunct streamer. That's interesting. Does that mean you're not on a tenure track? There's not a lot of... It's not working, but if you want to play with it, it's up there. One of my favorite McSweeney's articles is the tenure rejection for Dr. Henry Jones Jr. It's like, you are not qualified for tenure because it turns out you're a grave robber. You're never in class. Your student evaluations are terrible. So what I think I want to do with the procedures, instead of separating the procedure cards this way with like procs and specials, is I'm going to flag the, because we have, right, the procedure class, so I can set up a property of self.special and default it to false, right? And so what I'll do is, instead of splitting the procedures that way, I'll just flag the special procedures, and that way we'll know that they get a +3. I think that's a little bit cleaner. So then we're gonna have to change up the deal cards, right? Yeah. So here, we're going to still just create the procs like this, but then, instead of adding it to a different list, we're going to do proc.special equals true for the special procs. So that works out, and then what we'll have to do is we have to change out the way that they're printed. And the special procs, this is easy. Instead of pulling self.state special procs, what we'll do is we'll do list filter lambda p.special, and we'll do that for procs. That should work. So basically, we're saying we produce a list of procedures. Yeah, so this is a pattern I really, really like, Husky, where I use the filter and the lambda to get something and then turn it back into a list. I find this to be really, really fast. And it's, in certain cases, cleaner than a list comprehension. Uh-oh. What'd I mess up? E9. Oh. Let me just... Let's try running this. Yeah, so that worked. Didn't break anything. The stuff you can do with the functional components of Python, I think, are really under-discussed, right? Lambda, filter, map. It's a pattern that if you're not used to it, you know, you're stuck in for loop hell. But once you learn how to do it, it's really, really powerful. Right, so for example, and you can do it with list comprehensions a lot of times too, right? So if like, so let's say I had ends right? We'll go with the Haskell variable naming convention, right? So if I have ends, and it's just a list of numbers, right? And if I do n cubed, we'll do the cube for n in ends, right? Really, really, really fast way of basically a map, right? To get a new list out of a transformation of what you had before. But unfortunately, what if I wanted just like the ends that were even, right? I don't think I can do like n if n mod 2 equals 0, else none for in ends. I don't think that works. Or it does, but it gives me a none, right? That doesn't really help. And if I get rid of that else, I'm pretty sure it fails. Yeah, that doesn't work. So what I can do if I wanted to filter that out, right, is if I wanted to get every even number in there, I could do filter, and this is where the lambda syntax comes in, right? Lambda n mod 2 equals 0, and then tell it that we're going to filter on ends. That's how the filter works. Now, the problem is that filter produces a filter object, which is like a generator. So let's do that again and save it as evens. Evens is a filter object, which is a little bit tricky because if I try to do like len of evens, I can't do it. And I also can't do like evens, and I can't index it. Right? However, if I do a for I in, or for e in evens, print e, that works because it's a generator. It has a next method that will honor the for loop. Here's the thing though, because it's a generator, it becomes exhausted, meaning that if I now ask for, if I try to do that same thing again, it won't work because I've already exhausted the filter object. So that's kind of a pain with that. So what I do in that case is, and this is where that pattern comes from, I immediately cast the filter object into a list. So that I don't have to deal with that anymore. The list object is larger in memory. So if you're dealing with a massive amount of data, right, leave it as a filter object and only iterate when you need to, because the generator takes up less space. But if you need to get the length of it or whatever, you got to convert it. So yeah, depending on what I'm doing, I'll use a list comprehension if I need to get a list simply. But if I need to do something a little bit more complicated, I'll usually use a pattern that looks like this. Sometimes the one-linery stuff that you get out of like Code Wars or Exorcism is just, it's too clever by half. But that one I think is a pretty cool one-liner. All right, let's run ourselves a procedure here. Write this function and then get out of here for the night. So let's see. We're printing the procedures. We have to choose a procedure. Self.procs of proc choice. Now we have to roll a die. And we have imported random, so we're good to go there. So we'll say print chose proc.title. And roll equals random dot randint. And this actually, I swear, was a change between Python 2 and Python 3. In Python 2, I could have sworn that randint was non-inclusive for the second argument. That if I gave it randint 0 to 10, it would give me a random integer between 0 and 9 inclusive, right? Which isn't helpful. Or it's not as clear, right? Because then I have to do like a +1 to get a 1 through 10. So here it would be 1 through 20 because it's inclusive. Print. Rolled A. Roll. It's getting ahead of myself there. Now, this is the part where if proc dot special print special procedure is 3 roll plus equals 3 else print not a special procedure. And then we'll just do if roll greater than or equal to 10, print success, else print failure. And then we need consequences. We'll do proc dot disabled, right? Because that's a property we have on the card. Yep. And interestingly, this doesn't have to be on the card parent class, because only procedures can become disabled, right? So we're going to actually put that inside the procedure class constructor. So proc.disabled equals 3. And then if the roll is 10, we are going to have to do like self dot check kill chain with the procedure. So my idea with check kill chain, which I haven't done yet, is we're going to send it the procedure that worked and check its title against the detections in the kill chain, right? And that way the procedure will reveal the kill chain cards. And I'm just now realizing that for disabled, I want to be able to, in my print procedures, I'll put a to-do in here. Oh, it highlights the to-dos. That's just interesting if I all caps them. Alright, we'll leave that off for now. Okay, this will be a good stopping point if this works out. Okay, procedures work. I have endpoint security. That ain't right. I shouldn't be able to have endpoint security and in special and normal. Oh, because I don't. It's because for print procedures, I actually have to kind of reverse the special procs. And we have to invert the check so it's not p.special. Hey there from YouTube. Good to see you. Hunter. All right. Let's try that again. Now that's working. Now, of course, I have to actually add an option to choose a procedure, which I didn't do. Now, this is also sloppy. I don't love the pattern that I'm building out here, where it's like game choice equals 1, 2, 3. And this is actually something that I really, really wish that that Python had, which is a match pattern the way that Rust does, or even a switch the way that Java or JavaScript or C, like any other ANSI language, has. But Python doesn't have it. So you often run into these like if-elif chains, and when we refactor this is going to be a thing that I want to clean up, because this is really, really fragile. Okay, so now we have run procedure, right, as an option. Okay, choose a procedure. Let's choose firewall log review. Okay, something got screwed up. Self.cards. I'm struggling with JS websites. I can't communicate with them. I use pylibs, requests, HTML. On how render a JS website using Python. Okay, well, since this was theoretically an AMA and we haven't had a whole lot of questions, that's a good one. So let me tell you that the thing you want is Pypeteer. A tutorial? Nope. Pypeteer. I don't know why. There. Pypeteer is what you're after. Puppeteer is a JavaScript library for automating browser rendering. Pipetteer is the same concept, but in Python. So if you want to write your code in Python, this is how you would do it. Yep, it's definitely a challenge. As a matter of fact, I learned about Pipetteer from an awesome tool called Witness Me, from none other than Marcello Salvati, aka Bytebleeder. Witness Me is the Python version of iWitness or GoWitness, if you're familiar with those projects. Basically, what it does is you give it a list of IPs or hosts, and it will go and screenshot every single one of them for you, and also create a database of metadata to create a report after the fact. And it works great, and it uses Pipetteer. So if you want to see how it works, you might want to check out this code, just as an example. Here's headlessbrowser.py. You can see that it's importing Pipetteer. And yeah, that's how it renders stuff. So that'll get you like React and Angular apps. No problem. This is a good question. I run into that actually all the time when I'm doing web app testing. That's why I like OWASP Zap, because it has kind of built-in support for HTML unit and Selenium. Where are we? Line 92. Right, because there is no self.procs. It's self.state.procs. Okay, that kind of worked. Chose proc.title. I forgot an F, I think, somewhere. Chose proc.title. Where's my... Yep, I forgot the F in front of this for the format string. Okay, run a procedure. Let's run endpoint security protection analysis. Ooh, that ain't right. So, rolled 8. I think maybe we just get rid of the A so that we don't have to worry about the article correction for vowels. But, proc.special equals true. That should work. Now, I'm wondering if one of the problems I'm having is I'm kind of moving this procedure all around, and I'm wondering if what ends up going into the... Let's debug that real quick. Real quick. Okay. G dot... state. G dot state procs. And then we'll say p.special. So they are getting set. Interestingly, though, How many special procs did I configure for the game? Just one. So this special shouldn't have been set more than once. Something's going on there. I think it's because of the way that we're moving things around in memory and not copying them. Actually, a common problem in Rust, where things are getting set to true where they're not supposed to. Um, actually, I'm looking at this and I have too many cards. Because I should only have 3 cards. Right? If I set this to 3 and 2. Ooh. I have 3 procedures. Alright. Let's solve a different... That was not the problem I was trying to solve in the first place. Was... Okay, now a whole bunch of stuff is going wrong. Time to exit IPython because something broke. Usually when I see weird errors like that, I wonder if I overwrote an important variable name, but I don't think that I did. What has happened? I'm getting a value error, and it's saying not a number. Whoa, wild. Somehow the procedures thing messed up. Changing the numbers here messed up the rest of the code. That's an unintended consequence if ever I saw one. So I have the right number of procedures. See this? Endpoint security protection analysis, firewall log review, endpoint analysis. This is looking good. And by the way, the specials are printing out correctly. So let's run the procedure. So it obviously is a special procedure. I shouldn't have to do this, but that is so odd. Is special, I'm wondering if special is like a reserved word that I forgot about. No. But I'm going to try it a different way anyway. I'm going to try it with, like, is special. And then let me change that up in our filters to is special, just in case something's going on with that. That didn't help in the least. Alright. Well, I'm about out of time, folks. So we'll leave it there. We got a good amount done, and we played Backdoors and Breaches, which was kind of neat. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Let me see if I can send y'all someplace fun. WRX Rob is streaming. That may be something, that may not be. We'll send you there. But until next time, thanks everybody for hanging out. I'll be back on Saturday doing blue team stuff. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you next time.